Okay, we are working on your value techniques entry for your visual journals. Make sure you have your checklist taped on the inside of your cover. This is an example of what it should look like when it's finished. We're going to be practicing different ways to create value, which is a great way to warm up your drawing skills. And we'll teach you different techniques you can work from throughout the quarter. Okay? So, first thing we're going to do, you're going to go to your first page. Please go ahead and label that with a number that is appropriate to your chart. Whatever number it says on your chart is what number needs to go in the upper right hand corner of your journal, so I know which one it is. Okay? Then, to make our first part of the value, we are going to be using a circle. Our goal is to make it look like a sphere or a three-dimensional object by creating value. Okay? So you'll want to grab one of the green stencils. I suggest you use either the largest or the second to largest circle shape on the stencil. You want to place it up in the top half of your visual journal. Okay, so first two items I'm using, I just have my stencil and a pencil. Okay, I am going to place it in the top half and center it. The other items you are then going to need are a ruler, the note card that has the chart marked out for you, a pen, a pencil, and a blending stump. Okay, a black pen. So now what I'm going to do is make the value chart below. So I have my sphere. I'm going to make the values below that I can practice. All right, so take your value charts template, which is just a little note card that I have notched out on the side for you. This is where you need to mark your rows. So I'm going to place it below my circle and just trace around that note card to get the basic outline for my chart. I'm going to go ahead and trace the notches as well because that will help me to line up my chart. Okay? All right, so now I have placed my template down there. I'm going to take a ruler. I'm going to connect the notches with the ruler. Okay? The notches are approximately an inch apart. Okay. Okay, so this is my basic setup for my value entry in the visual journal. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do now is label this, and I will post this up somewhere for you to see as well. If you're following the video right now, we are going to first put a D on the left side for dark. We are going to put an L on the right side of our chart for light. So dark, light. We're going to make ourselves a little arrow to kind of know we are trying to go from the darkest value to the lightest value on each of these rows. Okay? The next thing I'm going to do is label what technique I'm going to use in each one of these. So the first one is going to be value with a pencil. The second one is going to be called stippling or stipple, which is simply creating value with dots. We also call this pointillism. Second or third one is crosshatch. And the final one is your choice. You're going to come up with any way you want to make value and fill it in that last category. Okay? All right, so in general, when we are making value, our goal is to simply go from darkest to lightest. In making these scales, that's my goal. I want to start with the darkest and move to the lightest. If you're somebody who would like a little bit of organization, you could divide this up again into 5 spaces to kind of help you plan out how you should move across, okay? So that means I know this is going to be my darkest value, this is going to be my lightest value. If you want to just work across like I did here, that's also okay. You should be able to see at least 5 distinct values, okay? As in a darkest value, a medium dark, a medium light, and white. Okay? So if you want to even label these like that, you certainly may. Okay? The goal with filling each row is that I can at least see that about half of these rows are filled. So that means I need to have all of the spaces in here solid, not streaks. Okay, you can see I didn't go all the way to the edge, and that's still okay. So I could choose to go like that, and then I'm going to work across and try to lighten my pressure as I work across. I'm using a very just vertical up and down motion to place the lead on the paper quickly. Okay, so we can clearly see this is darker than this, and I'm going to continue this trend across, okay, and lightening pressure as I go. If you would like to on this first one, you can use a blending stump to help you smudge and fade those values. Okay, so I need to bring this color all the way over to here. This is the only section that is allowed to remain white because that is considered a value. So you can see in my example here, I've gradually gotten lighter, but I still have a lot of nice, very light grays that are not white. Okay, so that would be your first step. If you need to pause the video right now, that is your value scale with pencil. The second category I'm going to work on is stippling. Stippling is simply using dots and the proximity of those dots next to each other. You again could divide this row up into 5 spaces, or you can simply try to go from darkest to lightest across. Now stippling is going to be the most tedious, so take your time. My goal here is to make the dots come very close together as they are here and slowly space them out as I go towards the right. So sometimes I even will kind of give myself a little bit of a guide. Okay, noticing that that last section has absolutely no dots in it because it's white. And then I'm just going to spend a lot of time building up the value using the pen. Okay, to give you guys a quicker example, here is my final stipple value scale. You can see the dots are very close there. You almost can't see any white paper, and as we move across, the white paper becomes more apparent and the dots spread out. Okay, so that would be stippling. Your third technique is called crosshatch. Instead of using dots, we are going to use lines and we are going to cross them over top of each other in varying levels of depth to create value. Okay, so you can see I'm kind of placing all of them in the diagonal first, down towards the bottom left because I'm left-handed. You might want to actually start with all of your diagonals going down to the bottom right. Depends on what you need. Okay, then I'm going to start to build them up. Now I'm going to crosshatch or go the opposite direction and cross my lines. Again, as I'm in this darker value, I should be able to see no white. As I move across, as it becomes light, I see more white. Okay, then I would move all the way across. Here's an example of a finished one. I will also have this hanging up so you can review it. And your final one, you're going to make up some sort of a way to create value. And this one, I just used scribbles and layered them thicker or spread them out farther. Okay, so your fourth row is your choice. The last thing you need to do is pick one of these and try to create value on your sphere. First thing I need to do with that is pick a light source. So I have placed a little X to denote that my sun or my light source is coming from the top right. Because it's coming from the top right, everything that's in the top right of my sphere should be white. Everything in the left side should be darker. Okay, so one of the ways to make this easier, first mark my light source. Then I'm going to break up my sphere into zones, just like the moon goes in phases. We see full moon, we see half moon, we see crescent moon. We can divide this up into values, okay? So here I would have my white, pure white. Maybe in my second row, it's still gonna be pretty light, but not white, okay? So we might wanna call that like light. Here, we might call it medium light. Maybe it's slightly darker, but still pretty light. Maybe we wanna call this one medium. And maybe this last one is D for dark, as in the darkest value. And then I'm gonna place my marks accordingly from lightest to darkest. to try and create the illusion of form so that my circle looks three-dimensional. Okay, thank you.